Before you know it, maybe what that person is doing has to do with drugs, smoking drugs, taking pills. Before you know it, he begins to tell. We've seen a lot of viral videos of kids taking such hard drugs. So I think what people need to do is to take up responsibility. Religious leaders have their own role to play. Then, like we said earlier, when you see something, you say something. Yeah. Definitely, if you don't do that, then you are putting everyone at risk. Then the school, I think the schools really have a lot to do. The educating a child on drugs should be very, very paramount in every school. Should be very important in every school. School should really take up to this, because if you don't, then you are as well encouraging the children to take drugs. Because if you're not cautioning them about drugs, which everyone knows that in our contemporary society is one of the major issues leading to crime, sure, then definitely you're not helping matters. Okay. And so does the religious institutions, and also parents. Parents need to really check on their children.
Yes, Abdul Malik, I think that parents' role is very number one.
Yes, it is.
You know why? Because they say charity begins at home.
Yes.
So whatever you instill in your child, that child will grow, to live with it.
So the two of them have a lot to do, and the teachers most especially should really do something. I mean, the school.
I agree with you. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you.
And sharing your thoughts with us on this very important topic, talking about drug abuse and youths out there. We hope to have you very soon on the program to talk more on this issue, probably when we'll be talking about good news that it is coming down.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Still on the program, medical practitioners recommend a health option for 2022. And that's after the break. Join us again.
Recently, both the president and vice president demonstrated leadership by being among the first Nigerians to have the AstraZeneca vaccine administered to them on live TV for all in the country to see. Subsequently, many federal ministers, political leaders, and members of the presidential COVID-19 task force have publicly taken the vaccine to follow in the footsteps of President Buhari and Vice President Oshibaja. To obtain it yourself, please go to the NPHCDA website. There is a link to click on in order to register and schedule your vaccination. In the meantime, please continue to wear face masks, wash your hands frequently, use hand sanitizer, and observe social distancing. This message was brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Nigerian youths are about the greatest assets the country has at the moment. The administration of President Muhammadu Buhari is strategically responding to the yearnings of the youth through multiple projects and programs. Youth entrepreneurship support, yes, by Bank of Industry, the Youth Investment Fund by the CBN, and several other conditional cash transfer programs. Recruitment of 774,000 social workers, majority of whom are youths, and so many other projects that are beneficial to youths directly or indirectly. If the administration can do all this, definitely with a degree of patience and time, it can achieve more. Nigerian youths must come together to say no to terrorism, no to vandalism, and no to all disruptive tendencies. Hashtag Youth for Greater Nigeria. Pacifying the youths, unifying the nation.
Welcome back to the correspondence and to the health sector. As COVID-19 continues to rage, medical experts are recommending telemedicine as an effective and sustainable solution to precaution, disease prevention and treatment. Health consultants in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State are recommending and endorsing telehealth technology as an efficient health care system. Correspondent Ifoma Aikoji has the report.
At every point you access health care or get medical advice from health practitioners through phone calls or via any form of e-messaging, you obviously have enjoyed the benefit of telehealth technology. While telemedicine and its use may not be very new, widespread adoption by health practitioners in Nigeria seem to have been slow until the COVID-19 era and attendant policy changes that improved its adoption relatively.
Telemedicine is not new. In fact, for almost a year now, we host a telemedicine platform at the University of Uyo Teaching Hospital. We had telemedicine. It's just that the uptake is still very poor. So what we need to do is to now provide the appropriate platform that would ensure, one, confidentiality of the patient's information. Two, you understand, would ensure that you conform to the regulations, governing your practice. And then number three, where maybe at the end of the day there can be some remuneration, you understand, for you, the practitioner.
The world is revolving. We are now all people who are subscribing to technology, modern technology. It is actually a good thing. It's innovative, it's beneficial to everyone because the long waiting in the hospitals by patients is actually very discouraging. It's not encouraging at all. Even me as a medical practitioner, I don't find it easy when you go to the hospital and just to stamp a form, maybe in the NHIS office, it will take you more than 30 minutes. So teleconsultation is something everyone should embrace. People should not be afraid of embracing it.
Now, Nigerian health consultants endorse telemedicine for its advantages.
It's a way of reaching out to patients. We don't need to meet patients one-on-one. In fact, in this era of COVID-19 and so on, we can sit down in the comfort of their room and talk to a patient and advise the patient on what to do.
Telemedicine affords you the opportunity of flexibility. You can stay from anywhere and consult your patients. A lot of the cases that people come to clinic all the time are things that could easily have been handled, by telemedicine. So I think it's something we need to encourage.
Everywhere in the world, telemedicine is coming on strongly, and we are no different. The world is revolving. If people can operate on babies inside the womb, come on, things are changing. We'll follow through with the change.
Though telemedicine is emerging as an effective and sustainable solution to precaution, prevention and treatment, there are still aspects of healthcare that professionals say telemedicine is not applicable.
For very severe cases, you may not be able to do telemedicine.
For all emergency cases, we advise patients to seek medical attention in the hospital. With non-emergency cases, at least you can consult a doctor.
With even this simple gadget, your phone, you can now access healthcare from your comfort zone. However, medical experts are advocating the regularization of telemedicine to ensure optimum results.
I quite agree with you, Ifoma, but sensitization and awareness program on the benefits of telemedicine are key. Thanks a lot. And on that healthy note, we conclude this week's edition of The Correspondence. Thanks a lot for watching. Join us again next week, same time on another edition. And a quick reminder that COVID-19 is still around us. Continue to abide by government's regulations and safety protocols. And more importantly, get vaccinated, take responsibility and stay safe. Rape is evil. Join the NTA to speak up and take action against rape and rapists, and be a star. See you next week.
NTA, you can't beat the rich.
The vaccine offers hope for a safe country free of coronavirus. I urge all state governments, traditional and religious leaders to take the lead in the mobilization effort within their environment and spheres of influence. I similarly urge all eligible Nigerians to present themselves and be vaccinated in accordance with the order of priority already mapped out at the various authorized designated centers only.
Welcome to Abuja, the place that unites Nigeria.
Senate and House of Reps pass revised version of bill amending Electoral Act.
Farm inputs and equipment worth billions of naira approved for the National Youth Farmer Scheme.
Senate passes National Rice Development Council bill.
And on Good Morning Nigeria today, we shall discuss the participation of women in Nigeria's political space.
Women inclusion in politics and governance is an issue that has stimulated debates over time in Nigeria on what their level of participation should be. And the National Bureau of Statistics says that the national average of women's participation in politics is 6.7% in elective and appointive positions, which is far below the global average of 22.5%.
You may recall, Kingsley, that in the First Republic, female politicians like late Hajia Gambo Sawaba could not vote or be voted for in northern Nigeria, while others such as late Chief Wurola Esan, the only female senator from the western region, late Chief Margaret Ebo, Mrs. Janet Mokello, and Ms. Ebo Young, the only female members of the Eastern Nigeria House of Assembly, were the only loud female voices in politics at that time.
Well, subsequently, during the second in particular, second, third, and fourth republics, we saw improvements with instruments and protocols such as the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, CEDAW, and the Beijing Conference aiding and ushering women into new and enhanced roles in politics and governance. We recall that Senator Afegbua, was a very prominent name during the Second Republic in our politics career.
Yes, and Article 7, subsection 7 of the All Progressives Congress, APC's constitution, supports women in politics, an attempt at fulfilling commitments to the 35% affirmative action and further consolidating on successes recorded by women in Nigeria's political space.
Well, this success has obviously given rise to various initiatives such as the 2022 APC Progressives Women's Conference. And that's a two-day affair where women from across the states of the Federation under the APC met in Abuja to brainstorm on the current role of women in leadership, development, and strategic positioning for future political office, economic growth, gender inclusiveness, among other issues.
Nigeria's First Lady Aisha Buhari advised the APC to do more for enhanced participation of women or more women in politics and governance, even as the 2023 elections draw closer.
Now, over 200 female leaders in the private and public sectors were at the APC Women's Conference, while some 1,000 women from states across the Federation were also in attendance. Now, a highlight of the conference was the unveiling of a digital platform for training women, and it is known as the Progressives Women Academy. And our focus this morning on Good Morning Nigeria is on matters arising from that political conference. That's to say, how to ensure greater inclusiveness of women in both elective and appointive positions. Thank you for being with us. We are reaching you live on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. It's a fairly chilly morning here in Nigeria's capital. I'm Kingsley Osadolo.
And I am Kirian Umayo. It's good to have you join us on this edition of Good Morning Nigeria. And as always, we'll serve you complimentary segments in the course of today's package, as usual. And for now, here is our colleague, Nolene Abel Ame, with the morning news highlights. Good morning, Nolene.
Good morning, Kieran and Kingsley. Good morning, Nigeria. Here is the morning news. President Adama Barrow of the Gambia has been sworn in for a second term in office. President Muhammadu Buhari, who tremendously supported the Gambia in safeguarding democratic order in 2017, was the special guest of honor at the ceremony.
You recall some years back that the then president, Jammeh, was not willing to respect the election results. And Mr. President was the one that gave the directives for a land, air, and sea move towards the Gambia. And of course, this was the moment when Jammeh now left the country. So Mr. President was very much at the front and center of the retention of the democratic process and culture here in the Gambia. So, you know, it's very, not just symbolic, but also, you know, significant that the person who made this possible should be here to see and and appreciate the fruits of his very decisive leadership.
Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari is now in Kaduna on a 3-day official visit. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that the president flew in from Banjul, the Gambia, where he attended the inauguration ceremony of President Adama Barrow for a second term in office. He was received on arrival by Governor Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai and other top federal and state government officials. While in Kaduna, President Buhari is expected to inaugurate several landmark infrastructure projects executed by the El-Rufai administration. The projects cutting across various sectors of the economy are located in all the senatorial districts of the state for enhanced socio-economic well-being. Sequel to the achievement recorded with the Anchor Borrowers Initiative, the federal government has again demonstrated its emphasis on the repositioning of agriculture as the Federal Executive Council at its meeting gave approval for the provision of farm inputs and equipment worth billions of naira to boost the National Youth Farmers Scheme.
Food security of this country actually depends on when we take charge of our production, and the federal government is not just investing or promoting rice, it's promoting 23 other crops. And this is another example of how we are trying to penetrate down to encourage our farmers, our young people to own land. We give them land, we prepare the land for them. We also give them equipment, and fertilizers and other agri products to ensure that we have food security.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has commended traditional rulers, especially those of the northern part of the country, for their contributions in tackling insecurity and peace building in their respective domains. The Vice President gave the commendation while delivering the 2022 annual Sir Ahmadu Bello Memorial Leadership and Good Governance Lecture in Kano.
The north and of Nigeria by extension is being contested by some of the most evil and destructive forces in contemporary history. And there are modern examples of the overwhelming human carnage that can result if we do not put up tough collaborative resistance. Mr. President has on numerous occasions reiterated the view that our peace and security architecture must recognize that traditional institutions are our first line of defense against the forces of anarchy.
The National Assembly has reconsidered and passed the Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2010 as Senate approves direct, indirect, and consensus for party primaries, while the House of Representatives rejected consensus. The variations between the two chambers will also require further legislative works before transmission to the President.
Reconsideration. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion moved by the Chairman, House Committee on Business and Roads.
What was considered and adopted by the House was only one clause, and that was clause 84(2). And that was a clause to do with direct and indirect primaries.
Still on the National Assembly, less than 24 hours after President Muhammadu Buhari unveiled a 1.2 million bag paddy rice pyramid in Abuja, the Senate has passed the National Rice Development Council bill. This will further provide the legal framework for the presidential initiative. At the 9th session of the Conference of States Parties to the United Nations Convention Against Corruption, held in December 2021, the international community appreciated Nigeria's effort in the fight against corruption. The federal government wants to take the fight a notch higher. The president has communicated to the House of Representatives urging passage of enabling bills.
Consider and eventually pass the best possible version of the following bills. A, the Proceeds of Crime Bill, B, the Whistleblower Bill, and C, the Witness Protection Bill.
The proclaimed leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, has been arraigned on the 15 counts charge preferred against him by the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Having listened to the counts one after the other, Nnamdi Kanu pleaded not guilty to all the 15 counts charge preferred against him. And on health, 230 new cases of COVID-19 have been recorded in Nigeria in the last 24 hours. Among the new infections, Lagos has 115, Gombe 29, FCT 24, Imo 20, Rivers 10, Ondo 9, and Kano 5. Abia, Kaduna, and Oyo each recorded 4 cases. Kebbi and Ogun 2 each, while Borno and Jigawa have 1 each. The new infections brings the country's total to 251,571 confirmed cases, out of which 225,280 have been treated and discharged, as well as 3,117 deaths reported in the country so far. That's the news for now. Good Morning Nigeria continues with Kieran and Kingsley after this break. I am Nolene Ebel Ame. Good morning.
Everybody knows the secret to good cooking is that special ingredient. The mothers know it, but does this new generation know it? Let's find out. Mothers, daughters, are you ready? Yes! Let the cooking begin.
Erisco tomato paste. Now we get home, now we get love, now we get children. We spice the world with a meal so great and so healthy. You know we've got your back. Oh, with Erisco, Rigico, Nagico.
Ladies and gentlemen, food is ready.
Food of love.
Erisco Rigico and Nagico tomato paste is made by Erisco Foods Limited, feeding Africans with healthy foods.
The 157-kilometer Lagos-Ibadan Railway is the first double-track standard gauge railway to be built in West Africa. The Mobolaji Johnson train station is a masterpiece, an infrastructure that is gradually becoming an iconic building in Lagos State. The modern facilities put the station on a world map of train stations. Likewise, other new train stations across the country built to world-class standards. The train and its convenience is indeed an admirable effort, with commendations from Nigerians.
This is a station that we have to commend the federal government for putting a beautiful face, empowering us in Lagos State, not only in economic and political arena.
I can say that I'm really impressed with the infrastructures in place. Kudos to the Minister of Transportations. Kudos to the federal government.
Truly, good things are coming out of Nigeria, and the federal government is deserving of all the applause.
See, nurse, she's saying she feels unwell, despite my efforts to practice good hygiene.
Mom says wash your hands to keep the germs away.
Washing hands is good, but surfaces can also have germs, and you shouldn't use just anything for cleaning them. Use Jik. Jik's formula has been scientifically proven to stay active for longer, giving you whitening and germ kill protection on a variety of surfaces. Disinfect to protect, just Jik it. Endorsed by National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives.
Candidates who are interested in gaining admission into NTA TV College, JAWS, for the 2021-2022 two-year National Innovation Diploma Program are to apply for admission through the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB. Courses available for application include Film and Television Production, Broadcast Journalism, and Television Engineering Technology. Such candidates must have a minimum of 5 O-level credits in relevant subjects, including English language and mathematics. For inquiries, please call 0803-079-5335 or 0806-980-9807. Management Announcer.
The Digital Switchover project, which is commonly referred to as DSO, which entails television channels switching from analog to digital broadcasting, is one of the biggest projects embarked upon by this administration. Branded as Free TV, offers its viewers about 60 digital channels, including sports, music, movies, and news. The federal government has licensed about 23 set-top box manufacturers. 7 of them have self-production, employing several thousands of people. We've made it now compulsory for all stations in Nigeria to only broadcast productions made in Nigeria for products which are produced in Nigeria.
And you're on to Good Morning Nigeria on NTA Network Service. Now it's time for business. World oil demand growth in 2021 remains unchanged in OPEC's latest assessment at 5.7 million barrels per day to average 96.6 million barrels per day. Let's now join Kunle Adeye for details.
The latest monthly oil market report indicates that an upward review in fourth quarter of 2021 amid transportation fuel consumption in the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development (OECD) was offset by a downward revision in third quarter of 2021 given the latest actual data. Oil demand growth in the OECD is estimated to have averaged 2.5 million barrels per day in the non-OECD region. Oil demand growth is estimated at 3.1 million barrels per day for the year. In 2022, the forecast for world oil demand growth also remains unchanged at 4.2 million barrels per day, with the global consumption at 100.8 million barrels per day. In the OECD, oil demand is forecast to grow by 1.8 million barrels per day, while in the non-OECD, oil demand is projected to increase by 2.3 million barrels per day. The bulls are still taking the lead on the Nigerian equities market as Wednesday's trading ended in positive territory. The All Share Index advanced by 1.73% to 45,430.14 from 44,655.89 recorded on Tuesday. 252.9 million shares exchanged hands in 4,218 deals valued at 8.925 billion naira. With business news, I'm Kunle Adeye.
Thank you very much, Kunle, for the business news package on Good Morning Nigeria. Up next for us is Newspaper Review.
And here we have our reviewer, Bayo Atoyabi. We missed him yesterday, but today he's right here with us. Bayo, it's good to see you.
Thank you, Kirian.
You're welcome.
Good morning, Kesley.
Right, Bayo, good to see you too. Kirian?
All right, now let's start the review with the Punch newspaper. Nigerians above the name flag. Nigerian passengers face hitches as airlines suspend U.S. flights over 5G rollout. That's in page 17. Fuel subsidy. NEC considers report today. TUC meets. ASCSN threatens showdown. That's on page 2. PVCs have not expired. INEC counters Tinubu. Story is on page 13. Now, federal government to establish 18 modular refineries in oil-producing states. On 17. Now, just beside the Punch name flag, cooking gas demand surges over NLNG's 100% domestic supply. It's also on page 17. I will declare my presidential bid after APC convention, according to Bello, as the governor of Kogi State. It's on page 13. Now, the lead story on the Punch, Electoral Act Amendment, Senate bows to Buhari includes consensus for party primaries. With 2 riders, Senate adds consensus to House of Reps direct indirect primaries proposal. Consensus will subvert popular will, antithetical to democratic principles. That's according to CSOs. All right, and the photo story is on the visit of President Buhari to the Gambia. Now, below that, we have Buhari, Atiku, Bello condole with Tambuwal over brother's death. It's on page 9. Buhari begins 2-day visit to Kaduna today. It's on page 7. Federal government charges not worth defending. Kano tells court. Girls February date. That's on page 7. I'll declare my presidential bid after APC convention. Okay, I've read that before. And then humanitarian worker Leos Brunu, 14-year-old IDP, rapes girl, victim stabs self, dies. That's on page 4. Social investment program fund being looted, Bauchi governor alleges. It's on page 21 of the Punch newspaper.
All right, we'll also take a look at the front page of The Nation, and above the nameplate you have the following headlines. EFCC quizzes AMCON MD over sold assets. And the writer says Kuru defends integrity. Details of that story are on page 5. Kano's trial continues February 16th, and 1 billion naira damages for IPOP chief. That's another rider to that. Tinubu clarifies position on PVC, and cards don't expire. And below the nameplate, Lagos acquires 2 speed trains from US for city service. And reworked electoral bill, that's the kicker. Senate and House differ on consensus option. Autumn unveils Benue humanitarian response plan. Benue Bauchi opens 330 million naira hospital. The list story is a double-decker headline. Governors tighten grip on APC ahead convention. State helmsmen to shortlist 2 aspirants for chair. Zoning battle rages. Convention guidelines out. And the guidelines are as follows. Reconciliation panel report ready, January 31st. Sale of forms begins February 14th. Screening of aspirants, February 20th to 22nd. Screening appeal committee seats, February 23rd. Buhari affirms Nigeria's commitment to democracy in West Africa. And there you see a number of West African leaders who were present at this inauguration of Barrow for a second term in office as president of the Gambia. And the event took place at the Independence Stadium in Banjul. Coalition makes case for Kebbi APC, and the Eagles take all 9 points. Bayo, let's begin.
Yes, indeed. The president arrived Kaduna yesterday from Banjul, where he attended the second term inauguration of President Adama Barrow. He's expected to commission urban renewal projects and others at Kaduna, Zaria, and Kafancha. Meanwhile, the president is reported to have lauded the Super Eagles for winning all their group stage matches. The Super Eagles beat Guinea-Bissau yesterday 2-0 to accumulate the maximum 9 points required. The president expressed optimism that the positive reputation of good sportsmanship exhibited by the traveling fans of Nigeria, sports writers, and the team will continue to enliven sports positively as an enabler of peace, tolerance, friendship, and cooperation, and indeed development. He urged the Austin Eguavon-led team to maintain and surpass their form so that they will eventually be able to bring the cup home. After closed-door sessions yesterday, both chambers of the National Assembly treaded the path of amending the electoral bill amendment bill rather than override Mr. President's with-head assent. Both chambers.
Sorry, now you've read this issue of in National Assembly on the electoral bill.
Yes.
Now, that is differences in terms of consensus. So
Yes.
the House of Reps said they will bow for consensus, yes, because it is antithetical and non-democratic, while the Senate, passes. So what do you make of that?
Well, the Senate amended it to include direct, indirect primaries and consensus. But the House of Representatives limited it to direct and indirect primaries. They have their reservations about it, but a combination of civil society organizations have also drawn attention to the fact that if we include consensus, consensus has a tendency to undermine the tenets of democracy. And therefore, they are advising that it should be explored. But the basic thing that will come is that both chambers will now meet at a conference to harmonize their positions before the bill is sent back to the Mr. President.
Okay, while we're still on that issue, and I believe that that's a substantive matter for us to focus on this morning. Bayo, you were not with us yesterday. Kirian and I took the papers, and we were discussing, if you recall, Kirian, what the modalities would be for the National Assembly to handle the electoral amendment bill. Yesterday, when they sat, the Speaker drew attention, because this wasn't pretty clear to us, to a provision in their standing orders, that to the extent that they have received this communication from the President, their standing orders require them to focus solely on that aspect that the executive branch found problematic, not a clause-by-clause reconsideration of the entire bill, which was why the focus was on clause 84, dealing with whether there should be direct or indirect primaries. In the bill that was previously passed, it was stated clearly that it compulsorily as well that it would be direct primaries. So they focused on that and then proceeded, of course, to amend it and pass it to be direct or indirect. That is one leg of what the House did. Then the Senate on its own passed the amended clause and say that it could be direct, indirect, or consensus. So that's a major area of disagreement. How do you measure consensus? How do you measure consensus to say, oh, we have all agreed, it will be Bayo who will be our representative. Now you are empowering party oligarchs to exercise arbitrariness in the choice of candidates. If President Muhammadu Buhari had complained in withholding his accent that compulsory direct primaries will be undemocratic, it appears to me that consensus candidacy chosen is even more undemocratic. So it would appear that in their conference, the two chambers will have to sort that out. But I think that there are two other issues in the different versions now, in the different versions passed by the two chambers. One, a report I read said that the Senate, in passing theirs, I've not seen the formal report in terms of their Hansards, but the report said that the Senate is passing the bill, said that direct or indirect or consensus will take place, and that INEC, that is the election monitor body, may monitor, which makes it discretionary.
Which makes the monitoring discretionary for INEC.
And it should be, I thought that it should be shall monitor, because INEC had always been a critical witness in election petitions arising from the proper conduct or otherwise. If there is no monitor who can testify, say in the course of election disputation, what happens?
Come on, that now, because all this issue of monitoring and not monitoring, we have also learned in the past that INEC will monitor primaries, and but parties will also agitate, and in some cases, courts will turn it against even the primary that was monitored by INEC.
That's right. Well, the good thing is that there is an opportunity for the conference to harmonize it, but there is a danger here. CSOs had pointed out that there were other 11 errors they observed in the Electoral Act. And from the procedure you cited, which the Speaker referred to, by implication, they can only attend to those issues raised only by the President. If those errors are allowed to pass again, I hope they don't continue to constitute a future obstacle.
Again, Bayo, yesterday we dealt with this, because the Speaker, upon resumption of plenary on Tuesday, let's say that the version of the bill that was sent to the President did not contain the errors, and it was at a loss as to where the document in the public domain then contained those errors. He actually set up a committee.
What could have happened?
Yes.
Why do we have versions? One in the public domain and the other one with the President. What can you make of that?
It's simple. It means there's a possibility that some certain persons leaked a copy of the bill which is different from what was sent to the president.
Okay, there's one aspect I want you to talk about,
Yes.
Bayo. Federal government to establish 18 modular refineries in oil producing states. As a matter of fact, we heard about modular refineries right from the Obasanjo administration. I'm not sure we have any modular refinery in Nigeria that is functional.
There are one or two functioning. There was one functioning in, I think, is it in the Rivers or Bayelsa? There was one in Edo State. And like you referred, during the era of President Olusegun Obasanjo, licenses were given, but most of the persons who got the license never got to establish the modular refineries. And that constituted part of the problem. Because the modular refineries are small-sized refineries that can go a long way to support the fuel production that we require to cut cost. Even the Ahmadu Bello University had a department of it where they exhibited where smaller, mid-sized refinery that can be used efficiently and effectively to refine crude oil as compared to the elaborate processes we have in the petrochemicals. These are the opportunities that we seem not to have taken advantage of. Anyway, and the...
Bayo, just before you come in again, there's a story about Lagos acquiring 2 speed trains from the U.S. for their city service.
Part of the urban transportation.
Yes, this is from the city of Milwaukee. Those trains were built about 10 years ago. Unfortunately, they were not deployed. And now the Lagos state government has gone to acquire those speed trains. Good news, you would say. The trains are supposed to run at, according to the paper, at 330 kilometers per hour. Simple question I want to ask. The tracks that have been built in Lagos, the tracks are still under construction. They are supposed to be completed later this year. Are those tracks designed for speed trains running at 330 kilometers per hour?
Can they be running on electricity or diesel or fuel?
Obviously, it has to be diesel. It has to be diesel. I mean, where would the electricity come from?
Per hour.
That's a high-speed train.
Yes.
Okay, Bayo, deep thanks for being around. See you again tomorrow. It's Good Morning Nigeria, and we're on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. We'll take a short break now. When we return, we'll get into our conversation segment.
To contain the situation in our operations, we've been able to make a lot of recoveries. We've been able to also arrest suspects that are involved in this kind of activities, and we've been able to also recover particularly arms and ammunition from those who are carrying it unlawfully and disturbing the peace of the people. But generally, our morale in the Nigerian police is always guided by our commitment to do what we have sworn to do. Peace and security must be looked into as a priority by all, to look at security as the business of all of us.
This message is from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Nigerian youths are about the greatest assets the country has at the moment. It is therefore not surprising that the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari is strategically responding to the yearnings of the youth through multiple projects and programs. Youth entrepreneurship support, yes, by Bank of Industry, the Youth Investment Fund by the CBN, and several other conditional cash transfer programs. Recruitment of 774,000 social workers, majority of whom are youths, and so many other projects that are beneficial to youths directly or indirectly. If the administration can do all this, definitely with a degree of patience and time, it can achieve more. Nigerian youths must come together to say no to terrorism, no to vandalism, and no to all disruptive tendencies. Hashtag Youth for Greater Nigeria. Pacifying the youths, unifying the nation.
The Nigerian aviation sector is rapidly growing with the construction of new international airport terminals in several regions of the country. The new Murtala Mohammed International Airport has an estimated passenger increase of 30 million annually and 15 million for Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja. Malam Aminu Kano International Airport is also expected to open new frontiers for the region with more travel capacity for the annual Hajj, while the new Akanu Ibiam International Airport, Enugu, avails more business opportunities connecting the industrial cities in the region to the world. These new terminals beat world-class standards with enabling infrastructure that aid air travel, tourism, and the eventual growth of the country's GDP.
Open up commerce and, of course, link us to international societies.
People from international community will come here to do business, and then that will bring in more revenue to the state.
Now, distances can be seamlessly covered as Nigeria keeps raising its bar to suit global infrastructure standards.
Dialogue, empathy, love, and unity. These are vital components of nation building.
For all to be well, we appeal that we should refrain from volatile, provocative, inciting messages and language.
Let's build and not destroy.
Well, we thank you for staying with us on the program up to this moment. And as a prompt for our conversation on Women Political Conference Matters Arising, let's now take this background report as compiled by Joseph Oseng.
Women form large proportion of the Nigerian population, making over 40%. They have been vital to the productive force of the nation, both in rural and urban areas, as well as electing leaders in the country. However, women equal participation in politics and governance has continued to be a major source of concern to advocates of gender equality, as numbers remain discouraging. For instance, from 1999 to date, no woman has been elected president or governor in Nigeria, and the national average of women's political participation has remained 6.7% in elective and appointive positions, which is far below the global average of 22.5%. Nevertheless, the ruling All Progressives Congress (APC) has demonstrated commitment to turn things around by reorienting the public on the importance of women inclusiveness in politics and governance. Article 7, subsection 7 of the party's constitution support women interests in line with the 35% affirmative action. The women wing of the party has also refused to be passive, and it is mobilizing women across the country to stand up and effect things for the women folks to occupy key positions in the country. The Progressive Women's Conference 2022 that took place on the 18th and 19th of this month in Abuja attracted hundreds of women across the 36 states of the country, including the FCT. With the theme, One Voice, Women Uniting for Progress, participants dialogue and came up with solutions on issues that will strengthen the positioning of women in matters of national importance, party progress, and economic growth.
As Nigeria heads towards another election, we must go beyond paying lip service to putting women in vital offices within our party and the government. We must put in place workable strategies to ensure that this actually happens.
Empowering women through the Progressive Women's Academy, the first ever official digital learning platform for Nigerian women to acquire skills and knowledge that will transform their lives, improve businesses, and prepare them for future leadership positions, was among top agendas. The Digital Academy is expected to train over 2 million women directly and indirectly in the next 2 years. As the country gears towards the 2023 general election, the Progressive Women are keen on women supporting women to rise to the top, occupy more strategic positions, and be self-reliant. How important are conferences like this in changing attitude of women to politics? What are the mechanisms in place to support the goal and objective of the Progressive Women? Guests on Good Morning Nigeria will shed light on this soon.
Many thanks, Joseph, for that background report. We have guests now to discuss those issues you itemized in the background. First, let's welcome a regular guest on Good Morning Nigeria, Honorable Minister of Women Affairs, Dame Pauline Talent. Honorable Minister, pleasure to have you on Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Kingsley, and Happy New Year. Good morning, Nigerians.
Happy New Year to you, too. And let's also welcome, after, I believe, a long while, that we last saw her on Good Morning Nigeria, the Honorable Minister of State for the Federal Capital Territory, Hajiya Dr. Ramatu Tijani Aliyu. Pleasure to have you again on Good Morning Nigeria.
Happy New Year as well. Good morning, viewers.
And also with us here in the studio is Honorable Engineer Doris Ubo, former member, House of Representatives, and Vice Chairman, Planning Committee for APC Women Conference. Madam, you're welcome to the program. We have here with us Honorable Stella Okotete, National Women Rep, APC Caretaker and Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee. Madam, you're welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right. Once again, our pleasure to have an all-female cast with us this morning for today's conversation. But let's just begin by, if you like, interrogating what went on at the All Progressives Women Congress, beyond the speeches that we saw, we heard, and the optics from the opening ceremonies. Honorable Minister of Women Affairs, how significant has this conference been to APC women?
Thank you very much, Kingsley. I'm sure you'll agree with me that this conference is very timely, and I must commend our National Women Rep, Honorable Stella Okotete, for organizing this conference, the first of its kind in the history of our great party, the APC, where women gathered from all over the country, women political leaders, elected members, wives of governors, the wife of the president, leading all of us to this dialogue where we're to strategize and articulate our position with one voice in order to make a difference in the political scheme. With the team, Women One Voice Uniting for Progress. We gathered, we strategized, and we discussed on burning issues to ensure that the narrative change as far as women participation in politics is concerned. We have all the numbers. All we need is to unite and work together. And by the grace of God, with the 2 days discussions we had, interaction, sharing of ideas, commitment to make a difference in the political landscape, I strongly believe that this coming election, women will change the narrative by the grace of God. The men know that without the women, there will be no progress. We and the youths, we have the votes. And our participation is very crucial. And women have resolved that no longer can we go out to vote foolishly or sheepishly. We must negotiate on the table. We must ensure that women are given the rightful position they deserve in all the political elective offices, from the presidency down to the councillorship. And we are demanding nothing less than 50%. And we're happy yesterday, if you were at the dinner, the vice president graciously lent his voice to that, because he knows clearly that there's nothing the men have that the women don't have. All they have that we don't have is the money. But by the grace of God, the difference is getting clearer. Our elected women and our women reps at all levels have shown commitment. They've shown motherhood. Because when a mother is on the table, the difference is clear. She's a mother, she reached out to her constituencies, and the impact our elected women have shown, both at the national and local government levels, you'll agree with me that having more women on the table will give us more progress and hope for this nation.
All right, there are a few key words, that the Honourable Minister has used, to unite and work together, because that's important, because over the years, what has been lacking when it comes to women participation in politics is lack of togetherness among women. All right, let's go to the Minister of State, FCT. What are the other takeaways, from this all-important conference?
Good morning, viewers. The conference was actually a welcome idea, and it couldn't have come at a better time than now, where we all converged, experienced women, brainstormed for the first time in the history of our political party, and we must appreciate the efforts of the women rep and all leaders of the party across board. And when we all gathered, there was freedom, there was unity, there was cohesion. Breakout sessions, were formed, and discussions were made, and decisions were reached. And in conclusion, we realized that like never before, that funding has also been an integral part of Nigerian polity and anywhere else, which has also been the problem with female aspirants and candidates in the country, especially coasting to victory and the final pushes. So there was a communique at the end of them. We also agreed on institutional framework, reviewing the constitution. Yes, the constitution of the party had been reviewed, and many of the issues actually discussed and submitted. But this is a final push that the group came together and agreed that we should reiterate the inclusion of all the decisions taken at the conference. And what are the decisions? To expand the composition, or to include women in the NWC, more women in the National Working Committee, more women in the neck of the party, more women at the caucuses at various levels. Now, if you look at the Constitution, and most of the times the emergence in the National Working Committee, since it's by election, we only end up with one woman, and that is the woman leader. Only a few times, like under the defunct ACN, which is also part of the amalgamated parties, we had the national vice chairman being a woman, Hafsat Baba. Again, you have Hafsat Baba being the woman leader, the national vice chairman, a woman from ACN. AMPP also had the vice chairman, and my person. Since then, we've not gone back to, more. Then we agitated and had treasurer again coming in Fatima Mohammed, financial secretary. But beyond that, women need to really be included in the National Working Committee. In most of the time, we call for the twinning system, just like in the case of the Rwanda. But again, in case of Nigeria, and when we push for the twinning as we want it integrated, and it should be domesticated and taken to the convention for ratification, to ensure that at each level, where we have the essence, that's the twinning, where you have, for instance, the male emerge leading a particular parastatal or agency or the party or at whatever level of governance, then the opposite gender, that is the woman, comes to deputize. But most of the time we also found that decision in a way, and that is why we want it enshrined in the Constitution. Women now remain at the deputy, position. Yes, twinning, but it does not mean that the woman is restricted to only deputizing, because most of the time, like in the NWC, not because many deputies did not emerge. They do emerge, but deputies don't make it to the, meetings or at the NWC levels. And most of the time we find the roles, except if also it will be redefined, that the perception of deputies as just stepping in absentia. So most of the time, if you are not given this space, the function is abysmal. So we pushed for that too, and we also pushed for ensuring that the 35% affirmative action is enshrined also in the Constitution, and this time around ratified at the convention to ensure implementation. It's been there, but it's been silent. So when we have the basic issue of implementation, perhaps re-emphasizing now will make it, in the front burner. But this is just the beginning, because the 2 days conference also, but had so many beautiful things, like the Women Aspirant Forum. This Women Aspirant Forum is also to take care of the young and upcoming, politicians. Mentoring also came up. There will be mentoring committee within the party level. This will also look and cater for them, boost their courage, give them the impetus and the audacity to speak up when they feel they do have what to offer. Also, we agreed, and like never before, we saw within ourselves and all the leaders that converged for once, that we are actually ready. There is supposed to be the unveiling also of the Women Trust Fund that beautifully put together by the Women Rep. And the Trust Fund will go a long way. So we called also for the constitutional backing to enable its stand, to enable contributions into the fund. And this fund will now be able to devolve resources to support competent, quality aspirants identified or candidates identified. Candidates, so that it does not become a jamboree. Once they secure the ticket, we know, yes, this is a material. She will be funded to every level through the trust fund.
All right. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister of State, Federal Capital Territory. Now, let's bring in Honorable Stella Okotote. Now, we understand they were the engine room for this women's conference. Tell us, what was the incentive for the conference, or the instigation otherwise for the conference, and are you satisfied with the outcomes?
Thank you very much. Being a pre-election year, I believed it was time for women to change strategy and also ensure that we're not just visible from behind, but we come to the forefront of the political space, actively participating in governance as well as in politicking. It's important that changing strategy will also require us coming together and reviewing existing strategies, as well as, getting other voices from the 36 states of the Federation and the FCT, to tilt towards the same objective, which is more visibility for our women. And so, yes, the chairman of the critical committees, Excellency Malabuni, graciously approved that women from the 36 states come together, to meet, talk, and also come up with strategies. The FCT Minister of States, who also happens or doubles as the chairman of the conference committee, has reeled out all that we agreed on. And so, yes, I feel very fulfilled, because this is the first time as a ruling party that we're coming together as women to show our worth, to also, develop policies and programs that would create visibility, not just for those of us on the seat right now, but also for future young women who are interested in politics and governance. Like she rightly said, today we have a Young Women's Progressive Forum, which is already developing women's capacity for leadership and also giving visibility to our young women across the 774 local governments in Nigeria. We also have the academy, which is very important and very key at this time, considering where we're coming from. It's an e-learning platform with the pandemic, it's obvious that you can actually build capacity from wherever you are, just going on the internet. And so we already have the Academy on the Google platform as well as the Apple app platform. And so if you have an Android phone and you're offline, you can just have the app on your phone and you can build your capacity on leadership, skill entrepreneurship development, as well as mental health development, which is very important for women aspiring to lead other women and make changes as change agents in Nigeria. So yes, I feel very fulfilled and I appreciate the women from the 36 states of Nigeria and the FCT who came out in their numbers. In fact, the ICC was filled to the brim. We had women, you know, commissioners, former commissioners, the former Speaker of the House of Representatives, former senators who are members of the All Progressives Congress, all in attendance, the wives of the governors. We even have some of the governors who joined us online because they were not able to, you know, make it to the event. And we had Nigerians also, Nigerian women who were also on the online platform. I was told we had over 2,000 of them also on the online platform, you know, to understand and work with us towards achieving more visibility for the Nigerian woman. And as the ruling party, I can assure you that Nigerian women, you know, are getting a new vibes of what we can do in 2023. And I'm sure the party will definitely be adopting all our recommendations.
All right. Let's now go to Engineer Doris Obo, who was a former member of House of Reps and, of course, a vice chairperson, planning committee. You've listened to your colleagues. You know, the number of points have been mentioned here. More women in the neck of the party, more women in the National Working Committee. There should be an institutional framework, and of course funding. Now, how do women intend to push all of these to ensure that your male counterparts will see reasons to actually agree with all that you have put together in that very important conference?
Good morning, viewers, and thank you for that question. I would like to start by thanking our woman rep for this lofty vision. Not only was it a vision, but she actually brought it to reality. And of course, with the support of a lot of women. You can see that the timing couldn't have been a better one. Women have been longing for something like this. A platform where they can speak, where they can come together and share their views and their thoughts. A platform that could give us a way forward. Of course, we've been part of this great party of ours, but it looks like our voices were drowned because we were outnumbered. And this platform has given us a reason to move forward, to say that the party, here we are. We don't want to continue to be relegated to the background. We want to be part and parcel of you. We want to stand shoulder to shoulder with you and help in bringing good governance to this great country of ours. There's so much more that who can do this within our great party. Starting with the fact that the woman rep was able to put this together in a short period of time and have the support of every APC woman that she reached out to, from 7 members to former members to ministers to everybody. Everybody was so happy to be part of this thing. And I can tell you that what we took away from this is the fact that what we have created can reach the grassroots. Politics is local. Every politics is local. The platform that she has created is that you can go online and register. You can go online and join a group of mentorship. You can go online and join a group within your locality that the party is going to listen to you. The women folk, we are all uniting, speaking with one voice so that we can bring progress not only into our party, but into governance. Imagine going into an election as a female and you have nobody backing you, which is mostly the problem that we face. But today, with the progressive women's funding that we have put together, that aspect has been addressed. Also, having a lobby group, often than none, you have nobody to run to speak with as a woman, because everywhere you turn, from your local government chairman to your ward chairman to everybody in party hierarchy, apart from the woman leader, are all women. You feel intimidated. But the lobby group has now been put in place. This lobby group is encouraging us to reach out. We have a body that you can run to talk to, share your problems, and they will have a way to bring a solution to that particular problem. I think it's a new thing that has, like a revolutionary thing that has never happened in any political party in Nigeria. We have set the pace, not only for women, but also to let the men know that we are here. We have capable hands. We do so many things, not only in the kitchen or in our enclosed families, but also we have women who can lead, who have been proving themselves. The Honorable Minister for FCT is there. She's doing lofty things. The Women Affairs Minister is doing lofty. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. And we have so many Ngozi Okonjo-Iwealas who are yearning for that platform, who are yearning for the opportunity to showcase what they can give. And I think this women conference that we have held for 2 days, moving forward, has shown that we have that capacity. And our men should look around and include us. Politics of inclusion is what the whole world is practicing now. So many people are doing it in different countries. Let's not go too far. Look at Liberia. Next door, a female vice president, Ellen Sirleaf Johnson. So many. And we are the leaders of Africa. We are the greatest country in Africa. So we should be beginning to not only walk the walk, and not only talk the talk, but walk the walk. We should put our money where our mouth is, meaning carry our women folk along. That is what this is all about. I know some men watching will say, oh, the women want to push us away and take over. We don't want to take over. We just want to stand side by you and help move this country to where it ought to be. The Honorable Minister for FCT have reeled out all we discussed. She has encompassed everything we discussed in there, so I'm not going to repeat it. So you can see, if you create a lobbying group, you create a funding for women, you expand the BOT to include women. If you do all this, women will not feel so left out like we are feeling right now. You know, especially women who contest election or who have been there, you feel as if the reward system is not there. You're not being included because you did not win an election. So all these things we have addressed, and I pray that our party will listen. They will look at this and not just another Beijing conference. By the way, we are hoping that they will agree with us to have this conference become a part and parcel of the party, meaning we want to have it on a yearly basis, not only to have it here in Abuja, but to domesticate it in the on the zonal level and in all the local governments in Nigeria. That way, women don't have to travel all the way to Abuja. You can have it next door to you. Everything we said here in Abuja can be replicated on the state level and on the zonal level. And like I said, we pray that our party will listen, and we have a feeling they will listen. A long time has come between Beijing conference and now, and nothing has happened. While I was in the House of Rep, out of 360 members, we were only 16 women. Today, I think there are only 11. So it's like we keep going backwards. We're not improving. If you go to the Senate, out of 108 senators, I'm sure I think it's about only 9 senators that are females. That is not, it doesn't speak well of democracy in our country. So we hope to improve upon this and encourage women that politics is not all about men. That don't look at yourself as a female and you feel that it's a bad thing. No, some of us stay in it to encourage the younger ones. And conferences like this, if we continue to have it, it will continue to encourage the young ones that politics is for everybody. It's for male and female, so long as you know that you have the passion for it and it's a service and you're coming to serve your country. So it's a way for us to encourage our women, and I'm sure we did a good job with the two-day conference, and I'm sure everything that we have stated in our communique, as repeated by the Minister for FCT, I'm sure our party will listen to us. And if they take point by point what we have said, they will see that we have a good point. They will say that what we're asking for is to just help and in strengthening not the party alone, but governance, as it were, in our country. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Honorable Doris Ubo, there for your comments. Let's bring in the other guest, the Honorable Minister of Women Affairs and the Honorable Minister of State. You're both very experienced politicians. And the subtext of part of what you're saying is that you are praying that a political party would hearken to the resolutions that have been arrived at the Women's Conference. You are praying, you are praying, you are praying. Because you know that those who are in charge, not just of your political party, but indeed of virtually other major parties in the country, that those who are in charge are like patriarchs, as it were. Is it possible to achieve a paradigm shift, or there is some concern that we might end up with the same kind of tokenism that we have seen, more particularly since the advent of the Fourth Republic? Tokenism in the sense that, oh, women, you want to contest, okay, we will slash your nomination fees by 20% or 25%, or X, oh, you want to contest, no problem, you'll be a woman leader. FCT Minister of State was a woman leader previously. What do you foresee as a reception from those who are in charge of the political space at the moment?
Thank you very much. We are optimistic, we are hopeful, and we'll continue to lobby our leaders. The national chairman of the Caretaker Committee, Governor Mai Malabuno, he was with us, and his speech was quite encouraging. He came with most of the members of his Caretaker Committee. Our APC governor, the leadership of the APC Governors Forum was there, Governor Bagudu. I could see the passion in him. I could see his commitment. And the real strategy is to ensure that we have more women in the party structure. That is what we are praying and lobbying for. Both the party structure and the directorate of the party. In fact, apart from the national woman leader, or our rep, she's the only lone voice there in the National Working Committee. That is not good enough. There must be gender parity. We are partners in progress. We are not fighting with the men. We are not saying that they should, we want to occupy all the seats. No. As I earlier mentioned, we are demanding for gender equality. And that's why we are pushing for the single Senator Olujimi's bill. By the grace of God, if that bill goes through, and with all our lobbying that we've been lobbying, the party structure from the national to the states and our governors, I believe the narrative will change. We are positive, we are hopeful. And as you rightly said, prayer is key. Leadership comes from God. And with what women have been tested and proven, they've proved their worth. And so far, all our elected members, all our women reps in various key positions have not failed, Mr. President. And I believe Nigerians are happy with the few we have. And if given the opportunity, they will fight for more women. But it has to start from the party structure, as my sister rightly says. The party structure is key. And that's why the ministry has instituted the He for She award. We can't do it without the men. And this He for She We started with Mr. President. We decorated him as a he for she. That means a man who believes in working with women, who believes in supporting and encouraging all that concerns a woman. We decorated the Senate President, the Speaker, most of our governors that are supportive and doing well as far as women issues are concerned. You've seen what is happening in Kwara. He stands out. You see what is happening in Ekiti. The governor of Ekiti stands out. The governor of Lagos stands out. The governor of Kaduna stands out. Now, more governors are keen in. Ebonyi is doing well. Sokoto is doing well. Kogi, name it. More governors are getting more women at the grassroots. We are demanding for more women in the party structure from the councillorship so that they can grow and come up. If a woman is there as a councillor and we have more women as the deputy chairman, women as members of the working committee at the national, state, and local government level, definitely that will help change the narratives. And we are positive. We are hopeful. With God on our side, we'll succeed in the lobbying. And I've seen more commitment from the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Dr. Aisha Muhammadu Buhari. I've seen more commitment from the wives of our governors. I told them, we've been hearing of kingmakers. This time I challenge them. Let them be the kingmakers, the
queen makers.
The queen makers, that's right. The queen mothers, our mothers that will embrace prospective candidates, women that have tried it. It's not that these women cannot do it. We have quality women across levels, both national, state, and local government. And they've proved their worth. You've seen the great number of women that came out and bought forms last election, 2019. We don't want any political party giving us form free. No, it's not about giving us form free and we end up losing the primaries. We want
there's no reform.
And there's no reform. Thank you, Kingsley. Women are crying, and the forms were so high. You can imagine a woman struggling to buy a form of 4 million, 2 million, 3 million, 1 million. And at the primaries, she's thrown out. So we want an understanding where the party will work more with women. As God created both man and woman to be partners in this in progress, because any country that does not involve women in national development, that country cannot progress. You cannot afford to declare over 50% of your population. It means that country is disabled. We can only develop and move this country forward when we have equal participation, or at least 1/3 of elective offices. That's the least we're asking, 1/3 of all elective offices. But the starting point is the 50-50 gender equality.
Okay, ladies, as a matter of fact, I'm beginning to have a better understanding, of where you're coming from, because if you consider the population that make up political parties in Nigeria, women are more in number. No doubt about that. As a matter of fact, from the local government level to the national level. But I'm considering, the real mechanics of politics and politicking. One has to go for campaigns and all of that. Now, are you saying here that you want women to say, okay, maybe at the National Assembly, there must be, if you have 109 members of the Senate, for instance, you say, okay, women should be up to maybe 50 in number. Now, if that happens, how do you get these 50 women who should come from different political parties, not just the APC, for instance? Yeah. Right. So my question really is, what you are doing at the moment, how will it, trickle down, or rather be domesticated in all parties across Nigeria? Because if APC achieves that, you have not really, achieved the major objective for which this conference was held. So how would other parties now imbibe what you say? Because when you say women, you're talking about Nigerian women, not just APC women.
Okay, let's come in there. Clearly, the convergence of women in International Conference Center during this conference brainstormed beyond the party. And that is what I call taking responsibility. Though as the party in leadership, a decision by the APC to enshrine and to adopt for ratification during the convention all these decisions taken in conclusion and brought up as a communique. We go a long way. The moment it is domesticated, then the rule is binding. It goes down to all levels within the party. This will birth a call for a national women's conference, irrespective of all political parties. We converge again to discuss the way forward for one for all for one. A country, certainly, that is engendered is a country endangered. We are all in this together. We can hear, we feel the pulse, and I know they are waiting. This is not about party, it's about us. It's about quality representation. And within us too, we are realizing that the moment a woman is emerges as a candidate, she faces the male counterpart. So if your party brings her up, definitely the opponent in another party is not necessarily a woman, because that will also be unconstitutional. Now looking at that, we are going and we are agreeing to go for the quality ones amongst us, identified, the pressure group, the lobby group. We, of course, be able to go across all strata to stand in for identified quality materials to ensure that they emerge. But reviewing the constitutions is mandatory. If you look at it, from the delegates that will go for either congresses or conventions, already women lose from that position, because majority of the delegates will not be within the reach of the woman. Majority are not even the women. So in that place where, for instance, the governors control the delegates, then definitely they will decide who emerges or do not emerge. But to have it enshrined in the constitution, particularly to say, just like in the post-genocide Rwanda, to say, okay, for every result that will be turned down from a constituency, irrespective of parties, the same ballot paper. We will also be able to look at ourselves after that, convergence of women. We will not let out the cat. We will be able to identify, irrespective of political party, for whatever party that prioritizes emergence of a woman and we see quality in her, we will all go there for the first time. Because if this does not happen, to be like a revolution, we have the numerical strength, but we become the press singers. And if you look at it at the same time, we appreciate that power is not served a la carte. So we have the mentoring group. The mentoring committee, we groom. We speak to them. We catch them young. We also identify, because we have realized that we are yet to form the critical mass, even in the National Assembly, both Senate and Rep. These are places where the critical decisions are taken to push the bills for ratification or domestication of most of what we are calling for. The same thing at the party level, and that's why we are doing within our reach now to ensure, and we know our father, the president, listens. He also supports women. We hope this time around that we are speaking in one voice, but critically, for what and my experience within and having been a national women leader and in more than 2.5 decades of politics and particularly party leadership, we realize also we've been our own albatrosses. So we are thinking, we are introspecting. We are also speaking to ourselves and the mothers, the wives of the governors. We talk to ourselves to look beyond sentiments too, to identify quality. Because the moment what used to play before, I was a woman leader and I was the national vice chairman of a party. And interestingly, across African continent, I am the sitting president of the Council of African Political Parties. So I've mediated within countries in Africa, and we've seen that the problem actually sometimes bounces back to us. Because so long as a man wants to assist, and then we come in with petty issues, like trying to enforce or who we do not want to see, and making mediocrity take center stage, then we create an opportunity or avenue for the male folk to step in again, because no party wants to fail. So we are taking cognizance of that. And besides the lobby, awareness will be there. We'll also liaise and support our women rep and whichever woman emerges after the convention. And even if it is she, whosoever we find and wherever we find a woman, rally around her if it's a material, irrespective of party. So when parties know that this time around women are resolved to do that, I think every party will actually like the emergence of a woman. For the first time, I am one person, if you know by history, I've never cross-carpeted. I've remained a one-party system until the amalgamation of the political parties and the emergence of the APC. But for the first time, we are thinking as mothers, the right thing be told, be done, and the truth be told. We must support ourselves. So we are in for whichever party, in as much as we know it will be our party. The stage is set. And I know our party, especially with the caretaker chairman, that is also another gender-sensitive one. Many governors and the vice president did not also leave us in it, and they are waiting to receive this document that was well articulated by women of intellect. Across party, we do have strong women like Itagiwa, Grace Bent, Benani, all that decamped into the party. So we know it's no charade. It's beyond what we are thinking. We think it's a movement that later all Nigerian women will come to buy, to stand as one. Okay. Maybe we're getting there. And I know certainly.
Thank you very much, Hajia Ramatu, for that optimistic proposition. Once again, Honorable Stella Okotete, let's take a look at what happens after the conference. I'm just wondering, because sometimes we play at the national level, and then when we get to the subnational level, we begin to have issues. You have made a number of suggestions, you've made proposals, and you're going to forward this on. But politics, they say, is local, and so every environment has its own peculiarities. Considering what it has taken to organize this conference, is it an idea that your caretaker committee, or let's say your party or women in general, will also be considering to say, look, let's also have our state conferences. Let's also have our local government conferences. Let's also have our world conferences, so that these ideas that have been discussed at the national level are resolved and then women are sensitized. Or you just want to leave it hanging at the national plane?
Like you said, we're not leaving it as a national play, but we're domesticating this across the 36 states and FCT, as well as the 774 local governments and the thousands of wards that we have in the country. Permit me to put this on notes that the party over the past 18 months has actually given women a new platform for visibility. We currently have in all through the ward and local government congresses that happened in 2021, we have women elected into offices beyond, at the grassroots level, beyond the woman leader. We have women today who are vice chairmen of the party at local level as well as ward level. We have women who are welfare secretaries. We have women who are secretaries of the party at the local government and at the ward level. What this means is that the party has heard our cry, but we came together for 2 days to fine-tune what the party has done, and like Oliver Twist, to ask for more. That's what we came out to do in Abuja, and I'm sure the leadership of the party have listened to us because they were there for the 2 days. They sent representatives, they were there day one, and day two, they sent representatives to listen to what we had to say. Beyond this, I want to say that the APC is the most gender-friendly party Nigeria has ever had. I'll tell you why. If you go by our social investment program, which is the brainchild, the idea of our leaders, headed by the President Muhammadu Buhari, you agree with me that the SIP has touched women across the 774 local governments in this country through various schemes, from the Jeep to the market money, all of this to give women economic empowerment, which is very key for visibility. When women are empowered, they will come out in their numbers. And that's why we came out in our numbers. To first of all tell Mr. President, thank you for what you have done for the grassroots women. You've empowered them. You've given them different programs and different opportunities to build their capacity financially. But beyond that, we're still asking for more because it's never too much. We are mothers, we are wives. So whatever we bring to the table, you know, goes back into the family system. And so we're asking for more of that support from the APC. But above that, we're also requesting, you know, that from this conference, Nigerian women will see the opportunity for visibility for themselves, who are yearning to serve Nigeria or who are looking for a platform to run for elections. And I think that's what we've shown in the last 2 days, that yes, the APC women are united, the APC women are women of worth and class, and we are ready to share and give our own contributions to social and economic development of this country. I said it yesterday, you know, Desmond Tutu said, if you want to see real development, get women to sit on the table. And the APC has given women, the current Minister of Finance, managing the economy of this country. Remember how many recessions we came out from? Against speculative analysis, you know, despite the pandemic, we're one of the first countries, you know, to break out of the shackles of the pandemic. So the APC women have shown their worth in public service. We've also shown our worth. If you go to the National Assembly, our women in the National Assembly have sponsored bills, they've made representations, they've made appearances, and we're doing all we can to, you know, give ourselves more of that and encourage more women, you know, who are at home. Yesterday we heard from one of our state houses of assembly members from Gombe State, Niger State, sorry. She said it there. She was formerly a housewife. The APC gave her a platform. Today she's a House of Assembly member, contributing to the development of her state, representing her constituency. And she reeled out projects and programs she has done. Because the APC women are not just flamboyant. No, we come to the table with empathy. We come to the table with the need to serve, because that's what we've been trained to. We're progressives. And like you said, we're not ending here. We've set the pace. We've raised the bar as a party. Because we're the ruling party, because we're progressives, and because we know what our slogan is, change. We have actually changed the narrative of women representation by coming together with this conference. And I can assure you, with the leadership of our party that has the listening ears, as well as a president who is willing and always ready to support women, we'll definitely be getting all our recommendations adopted. I can also assure you that the chairman of our party on the Critical Committee is waiting to receive our recommendations. The progressive governors are waiting to receive our recommendations. And so in the next couple of days, we'll be out in our numbers using the platform of the lobby group of the APC women to do all of these deliveries to ensure that it is quickly adopted at our convention or before our convention, so we can have more women run for elective positions at the convention and also, you know, get more of them represent us at the national level, since we have succeeded in doing it at the local government and the ward, local government and state level. Thank you very much.
All right, madam. Well stated, you know, but I'm worried about certain aspects of the way we play politics in Nigeria. You know, we have appointive positions and, of course, elective positions. And I'm wondering whether women are more interested in elective positions or appointive positions, or both, as the case may be. And now you're talking about progressives being APC. We have mentioned here that we have other political parties. For this to have a bite or an impact, you know, on the Nigerian women, other parties have to key into that, you know, because APC is just one party. And I'm sure that the women in APC cannot be said to be more in number than all the Nigerian women. Right. I was going to ask a question to Doris Hubo now, but we'll have to take a short break. You know, when we return, I'll get back to her for my question. This is Good Morning Nigeria. We'll be back very shortly.
The ever-busy ancient city of Onitsha is a commercial hub with millions of commuters seamlessly linking other states daily for business, leisure, and other purposes. To upscale its road network,
The construction of a 1.6-kilometer long second Niger bridge, including a 10.3-kilometer highway furnished with other infrastructure, has been in motion by the federal government. This project will ease congestion on the existing 56-year-old Onitsha bridge and boost the economic capacity of the state as it easily connects to other parts of the country. The completion of the world-class second Niger Bridge Onitsha will be one of the many proud moments of the state, its people, Nigerians, and foreign investors. Onitsha, which hosts the largest market in Africa, is geared up to boast of an impressive road network. Once again, these moments are made alive by the federal government, and it is deserving of all the applause.
Finally, the hero of Nigeria's democracy has arrived. He shall usher us into a new phase of development, peace, and prosperity. He is the father of the new Nigeria, His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR. Welcome to another season of giving Nigerians hope yet again. We are sure of a great future for both ourselves and generations yet unborn. We look forward to your leading us as a nation into our manifest destiny. Though the challenges against us as a people are many, we know that your leadership shall set us on the right path to our greatness. A new dawn beckons on us all, and having you as our president is a precursor to this. Thank you for believing in Nigeria. This message is from the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA.
We are all Nigerians. Against all odds, we shall and must remain united. We may have our challenges, our problems, and setbacks. However, together we shall overcome them all. What doesn't break us shall make us stronger. This is the mindset that shall bring peace, progress, and prosperity to our beloved country. Do not let tribal and religious sentiments govern how you think, act, or feel. Don't be influenced by those who want to destroy our precious national unity. Everybody who is a Nigerian is your brother and your sister. This is the mindset of the new Nigeria. It is also the mindset that we must all adopt. Let us support each other in creating the Nigeria of our dreams. This message is from the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA.
COVID-19, that is the black swan of the century, has actually hit the whole world very hard, even the strongest of economies, and Nigeria was not spared. But due to the proactive stance and steps that the president has taken, we've been able to come out quickly. The president has consistently said we must invest in infrastructure. Even as we're investing in human capital, that we must invest in infrastructure, because at the end of the day, that is what will bring about a sustainable economic growth. So the president has given us our directive. He has said you must make sure you pay salaries and pay pensions, but you also make sure that the critical projects of roads, railway, airports, bridges, major infrastructure that are meant to drive the growth of the economy, that we consistently invest in them, even if we have to continue to borrow to do so.
This message is from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Yeah, really, we're getting into the intricacies of this matter this morning, and the engineer Doris Ubo will bring you in here. In the past, we've known that women are the problem of women in terms of politics, because when it comes to being supportive, they are not, especially in elective positions. You know, women campaign against women, not just in APC, but in other political parties in Nigeria. And we've raised a number of issues here during the discussion on how to enshrine certain decisions in the party's constitution. But I'm going to ask you whether is it also not important to enshrine such decisions in the nation's constitution, so that all the political parties will have to abide by that, especially in appointive positions?
Yes, very good question. We're taking it one step at a time. Of course, we're pointing the fingers at ourselves first and being the trailblazers. We're setting the pace for other political parties to follow. And we're hoping that in future, this will not be just a APC Women Conference. We're hoping it will metamorphosize into Nigerian Women's Conference. It will become Women's Summit, where we table our problems, not just within a political party, but across the nation. And you asked a question earlier that do we want to be just 35% in elective positions? No, we want to be part of governance in general at all levels. We want to be take part in a appointive position, elective position, and any other position that is out there. What we're basically saying is we have capacity within us as women. We have capability. We have the passion. Look inwards. Look at us. Give us more responsibilities. You have a Minister for Finance that is doing so well. Like the woman rep has stated earlier, she has taken us from a recession during the pandemic to where we are today, to where people can feel comfortable to come into Nigeria and invest without feeling that their investment is lost. So we have capable hands who can turn this economy around. We have engineers, we have lawyers, we have doctors out there who are yearning to give what they have to better the situation in the country. So no, we are not relegating ourselves only to elective positions. We want to be generally part of governance because we feel we can do it. We know we have the capacity. We know we have the passion. We know that we have women who are capable because as we're speaking about including women, people will think we want to be patronized. No, we don't want you to give us women who cannot carry their own. We have women who can do much more than that. And we're saying, turn your searchlight around. Look at us. Look inwards. What you're looking for is right beside you. Include us and carry us along so that we can make this country a better place for all of us. That is what we're talking about. And earlier on, also the woman rep was talking about domesticating this across the board. And she's very right. We don't want to leave the conference only to people who can get into the plane or get into a transportation means and come to Abuja. You don't have to. We can do it on local government level. We can even do it on world level. There's nothing we have said here that cannot be repeated on the local level. All politics are local. It will be encouraging to our women on the grassroots to know that we are watching out for them. The language we are speaking is their language. What we are asking for is for them, is for us, is for our children, is to set the pace for those who are coming in newly into politics, to encourage them. The lobby group will encourage women that you're not alone, because when you're out there to vie for an office and you don't have fellow women apart from your woman leader to turn to, it's heartbreaking. And the lobby group is there as a cushion to take your problem there and solutions will be profiled for you. We are hoping that this space that we have set as a political party, that other political parties will come on board and emulate us, so that the Nigerian women in general, we know that we have awoken a yearning, a burden that has been there within us for a very long time. Right now, we are bringing it to the front burner. Let us not talk about it. Let us know that we are educated. After all, when you go to school, they don't set different classrooms for women. We sit in the same class with you men. And dare I say that we manage to pull our own. You know, so if we can do all that, and you have women astronauts, women pilots, women in every aspect, we are asking for more. Like my woman rep said, I keep referring to what they have said because it is good to bring it on board that they have said it before. The president has done so well. He has given opportunities to women. He has given it so many, but so much, and we're asking even for more. That in addition to what he has done, we are saying thank you to him, but that there's room for more to be done. There's room for more women to be carried along. There's room for more inclusion of capable women. Capable women, mark my words, capable women with the capacity and capability and ability to help move Nigerian government forward to help into giving us good and better governance than what we have. We know we can do better than this. Women are out there waiting to be included. That is what this summit was all about, and that is what we'll continue to be preaching, even into as we're getting ready for convention. We hope that before convention, all this will be taken care of. And if it's not, hopefully we'll include it in, during the convention, and it will be ratified by God's grace. So yeah, to answer your question directly, we're not only asking for political offices, but for governance in general.
All right, thank you very much, Honorable Doris Ubo, for the comments that you have made. Back again to this point. I know that there's been a lot of praise for women being in charge of our economy. Indeed, that has been the case for more than a decade now. We have had women as ministers of finance in the country. Okonjo-Iweala was there, Nana de Usman was also there, and then, of course, under the current dispensation. But let's also have a sense of recent history, because it's also an issue that we have discussed on Good Morning Nigeria. This is not the first time that we're having agitation, as it were, for increased women participation in politics and in governance. Indeed, the People's Democratic Party, which led the country for about 16 years, tried, with its own affirmative action, and I think the Goodluck Jonathan administration strove perhaps much harder to try to achieve some 30-35% of women position. 20, I'm not quite sure what the percentage is now, but we do know what happened. That even in terms of women's representation in politics and therefore elective positions and appointive positions, we saw a decline. And that decline was pretty sharp after the 2019 elections. It was a topic we discussed here on Good Morning Nigeria. I want to ask you, again, Dame Pauline Tale, you are an experienced politician. What went wrong then that women, as it were sidelined? And how might that also be avoided so that we don't come back on a post-mortem examination of, after all the conference, after all this one, see where we are now, what went wrong and how could we avoid that?
Thank you very much. The sharp decline of women representative in all elective offices in the past 10 years is heartbreaking, and I will allege it's to the insincerity of our political leaders. Because if there's commitment from our political leaders and they stand by what they said or agreed with the women during the struggle, definitely there would have been. And lack of enough sensitization. There's a big change in the narrative as far as this administration is concerned. We are fully committed, and Mr. President, under the able leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari, he has made statements. For the first time during the presentation of the budget, he made a categorical statement that this year's budget is appealing that all MDAs should mainstream gender in all the budget. This is the first time that the president has said that. That is the starting point. Mr. President has also shown commitment. We have the NDI, National Democratic Institute, where we have a committee called the SAGE, supported by the US government, and this committee have both men and women. Leaders of thought, religious leaders are members of this committee, political leaders are members of this committee, people like Senator Ken Namani, Onaikon, the Sultan, they've all shown commitment. And all we want from them is to remain sincere. If they are sincere in their commitment to support women, sell through, because it has, as we've kept saying, the change must start from the party structure. The Constitution of the Federal Republic also needs to be amended, and the Ministry of Women Affairs, through our good networking with civil society organizations, we've presented a position paper to the Office of the Deputy Senate President as far as the Constitution Amendment Committee is. The ministry has put clearly a formidable amendment with the civil society organizations, and we've been pushing and supporting that, lobbying to get that through. With the party amendment constitution too, under the able leadership of Professor Tahir, the Ministry of Women Affairs has rallied civil society organizations, women leaders, men who are he for she. And we've presented our position paper and I've been lobbying them. Okay. And I believe they have reassured us that our position paper will be looked into. And if all these things, all these efforts are put on the table and addressed, I believe that there will be a big change come 2023.
Time is no longer on our side, so let's get to hear Honorable Minister of State, FCT. I want you to speak on two key things in the next 1 minute. Funding. You said you're going to have a forum for funding and again a lobby group. What is the mechanism for it?
Good. The lobby group, first of all, the composition of women, the cream de la cream, women who know their onions, women who are well connected, well networked, with also the financial capacity, and with the grandstanding to even get support from banks and institutions to support candidates and members of this lobby and pressure group. Then if you also talk of the APC, progressive, that's the Progressive Women's Trust Fund. Here again, if women today, we own structures, we own companies, we're going to lobby beyond even the partisan women, to look into and to reach out to women like Alakija and so many of them, even to the developed clients, to see how we get money into the coffers of the trust fund. And I know, as resolved as we are, and my conviction is today, for this conference to be able to hold, it's been a bit difficult, and actually no person can go it alone. But that to say women were called, since inception, there hasn't been a single, party meeting together. But for one call, and women crossed, came, united, rallied around the women rep. Not even saying, no, she's younger or new among us, we're not going to follow, as usual, to come with placards and fight ourselves. No, everybody rallied around. She became a fulcrum and then reeled out ideas that birthed the decisions and the communique. I think it will go a long way, and we are all resolved already as progressive women that it's not stopping here. If you look at what we submitted, it's going to be a working document. If Mr. President, that we know, that supports gender and inclusion, definitely we will lift the bar and we will welcome into this fold many other women from other political parties and get them to understand that it's not, and I know they do understand, they are following this game. It's not about our party anymore. We are the giant of Africa and they listen to us each time, but we are now ashamed when we move out to say just Rwanda here. We come with certificate of inclusion. We have Liberia speaking. I went to Kenya. I saw the governor of Nairobi being a woman. You went out, come on. And then how comfortable would our men even pride themselves now to say you are advocates and champions of gender? Ordinarily, really. We will massage their egos, we will lobby, and then we'll come clear with our contents to ensure that those we are bringing forward, even the institutions, will be ready. Financial institutions and individuals will be ready to invest in those women.
I just wonder, you're saying this for the second time, Honorable Minister.
Yes.
I'm not going to ask this question, but I'll just make a rhetorical comment. You said you get financial institutions and maybe corporate organizations to pitch into your trust fund. You're asking for donations by corporate entities for partisan causes. I'm sure that you will have some issues with that on the basis of the provisions of the Companies and Allied Matters Act. But I'm sure that these are matters, of course, that will be clarified going forward. You have deep pockets who are individuals, but for corporate entities, you might have some issues with that.
For corporate entities, if they identify capacity, they are not donating to the party, but they are donating to strengthen the capacity of a woman. So in that context, yes.
It might be then. That would be a different issue. That's why I said partisan political causes.
No, not
okay. Now, Honorable Stella Okotete, very briefly. Again, this might appear as if we're opening up the conversation again, but very briefly, so that you know the kind of obstacles that you might have in your path in this laudable objective of getting more women inclusion in appointive and elective offices. Our politics is essentially transactional. And we do know that politics has been a means of economic empowerment. If the oligarchs now find that you are coming to take from the table where they have been working, you think they will be comfortable with you?
The time has come. The time has come for us to be very patriotic, to our nation, Nigeria. And I can tell you that we're not coming to take what they are eating. I'm sorry. But we're coming to join our strength, join our experience, join our passion, to the development of our country, Nigeria. Nigeria needs to move from where it is today. We need to improve on the social welfare of our people. And the best people who can do this are the women. And I need to inform you that apart from us getting funds from, women getting funds from, the private sector, the trust fund will be donations from party women. Imagine registered today, we have about 30 million women registered in the APC from our last registration who are APC members. If each of them, I work with numbers, if each of them make a contribution of 100,000, would have in our coffers and in the trust fund over 300 million. That would definitely change the political space of our women in terms of capacity building and otherwise. Then when we go back to the lobby group, we're not just going to be lobbying those at national level.
Nigeria, but of course, you know that when a woman comes into a position, the man that has been there is out, as a matter of fact, but that's just by the way.
As a matter of fact, what happens?
somebody is taking it away. So, all right, at this point, we'd like to appreciate you for being here this morning, Honorable Minister for Women Affairs, Dame Pauline Tallinn, an old politician. She's still there. We appreciate you. Thank you for coming here this morning.
Thank you.
And Honorable Minister of State, FCT, Dr. Ajia Ramatu Tijani Aliyu. She's also a good old lady in politics in Nigeria. We thank you for being here this morning. I hope you sustain the tempo. We also like to thank Honorable Stella Okotete, National Women Rep, APC caretaker, and the Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee. We hope you take the convention to other levels. Thank you indeed. Yes, and Honorable Engineer Doris Hubo, former member, House of Representatives and Vice Chairperson, Planning Committee for APC Women Conference. I hope you return to House of Reps or rather get to the Senate, next time around.
Or she becomes a governor. I don't know.
Become a governor as well, because already the experience is there. All right. Now let's talk sports. The Super